Okay. So in 11, it's one of these compound interest problems. It's saying in this problem that we've deposited $100 and we get 4.8% annual interest. Now, but it's compounded quarterly, which means it's not really 4.8% a year. It's you cut that into four pieces and you get 1.2% that you compound four times throughout the year. So, so I don't know if you remember this, but the more frequently you break up that 4.8% and compound throughout the year instead of just once at the end of the year, the better it is for your money. So this actually ends up being where you do 1.2% four times a year ends up being better than if you did 4.8% once a year. As long as you're talking about making money and not like borrowing money and that's the interest that you're paying on it, right? Okay. So how much is the account worth at the end of a year? Well, you deposited $100 and it gets 1.2% interest. So here's the 100% plus the 1.2% interest. Remember, to turn 1.2% into a decimal, you just take the 1.2 and you divide it by 100, which is 0.012. So this right here, that's the original 100%, and then the extra 1.2%. And I don't want to raise it to the one because that's just 1 month. Or sorry, that's one time. But it's four times in a year, and I want to do 1 year. So I need to raise it to the fourth, right? Because I got to compound it four times. So let's see if I work that out. Well, actually, let me write it like this. That's 100, 1.012 to the fourth. And that comes out to be 100 times 1.012 to the fourth. 104.887. So since we're doing money, we'll round that to the nearest penny. So 89 cents. Okay. All right. How much? What's the actual interest rate for 1 year? Oh, is the actual interest rate for 1 year equal to 4.8%? No. In fact, you can figure out what the actual interest rate is. Um, we deposited $100. At the end of the year, we had 104.89, right? So the actual interest rate is 4.89%, right? Because that's how much we added of 100. Now that's convenient because we started with 100, so the percentage is just whatever we tacked on. But if you wanted to calculate it in a more like straightforward, straightforward is an ambiguous term, in a certain way, like an algorithmic way, the way you do it is like this. It's 100 times 1.012 to the 4, and that's for 1 year. For 2 years, it would be 4 times 2. For 3 years, it would be 4 times 3. For t years, it would be 4 times t. So this would be the cost of the account or the value of the account after t years, right? 4t. Well, this is the quarterly rate, right? So if I write it like this, I can now rearrange this formula where the only thing on the outside of the parentheses is the years. And if I take this 1.012 to the fourth, that turns into 1.04887. Now this formula looks like the one that's P naught 1 plus R to the T, right? Where T is in years. And this R right here would have to be the 0.04887, which really means if I move that decimal over 2, right, multiply by 100 to get the percentage, the rate is 4.89% because that 7 rounds that 8 up to a 9. Okay, so that's another way you could get it. This will come up again in the very last problem, just so you know. How much is the account worth at the end of 5 years? That's going to be $100 times 1.012. And then 5 years is 4 times a year times 5 years. So to the 20th. So that's going to be 100 times 1.012 to the 4 times 5. So that's $126.94. And then D, how much is it worth at the end of T years? That's the formula we already derived, 1.012 to the 4T. Okay. Well, actually, you could have a couple different formulas. This is, you could have this way, or you could have it where you've already done the 1.012 to the 4 part, and you end up with 100 times 1.04887 to the T instead of to the 4T now. So either of those are okay.